This is Sybert signing into Red Alert 3 on the map, Infinity Isle. On the left side, as our Red Empire, this is PiKa. On the right side, as our Blue Empire, this is Andrey. And this is the grand finals of For the Win 74, a double elimination tournament. PiKa, the winner's bracket finalist. Andrey, the loser's bracket finalist. And these two guys are coming head-to-head. Of course, this is a best of 7, but it is a potential extended series. If Andrey wins this first best of 7, they have to play a second series for Andrey to actually win the tournament. And the difference between first and second place isn't too much. $40 versus $30. Rage of Heat spreading the $175 out in this tournament quite far. So there were, I think, the top 6 players all got payouts, and then there were also 2 random draw $15 prizes. So that is one thing about playing in these tournaments. If you aren't the best player and you aren't going to take a spot in the top 4, you may not get a payout in terms of prize winnings, but oftentimes there is a random draw prize as well. So you could potentially collect, $15 just for showing up and losing all of your games, which isn't a huge amount of cash, but I don't know anyone who prefers to end the day with 15 less bucks than they could. So always fun to show up and participate. PiKa just killed a harvester with only burst drones, and that's okay. That is that's pretty crazy that he even did that. This burst drone not quite going to be eliminated by PiKa. Instead, he's going to be going for the kill on this Tengu. PiKa starting out with a lovely advantage there, getting an early harvester kill against Andrey just with those burst drones. It's not always worth it to keep the barracks around and just be constantly producing burst drones, especially as Tengus sort of make burst drones irrelevant. But in this case, where both players are playing random, they draw Empire into a mirror matchup, and, well, you have a situation where the burst drones actually do something, at least in the early game. So that is kind of a funny little advantage that PiKa gets. PiKa has been on form in this tournament, but we'll have to see if Andrey is able to make the, not quite a comeback, but make the win streak happen. Get some nice damage onto that ore collector, really just utilizing the honorable discharge upgrade to get the extra damage, and sells off his Mecha Bay. Wow. I mean, I've heard of an MCV sell all in. That was a misclick. PiKa misclick sold off his Mecha Bay. That, wow. Okay. So PiKa was in good form, but right now he is looking to be a mess, as he is now behind in Tengus and has no real chance of catching up in terms of Tengu production. It turns out when you don't sell off your Mecha Bay, that's better than selling off your Mecha Bay, especially accidentally. He could transform on top of these tank busters and get the kill on them, but he is going to otherwise have to trade out these Tengus. The numbers are just better for Andrey, and Andrey is going to be feeling really good about that. Now, long-term, PiKa could go up to Tier 2. He could try and gain an advantage through some kind of combo force, Striker VXs, Tengus, trying to force the hand of Andrey. But at the current moment, the Tengu Wars, and of course he did just get Tier 2, but in the Tengu Wars, Andrey is far superior. He's going to be splitting off one of his Tengus to go ahead and get the kill on that Harvester. Andrey chooses not to transform his Tengus. He is going to be forcing this Harvester off the line in the south. And Andrey going to be taking a little bit of damage on that oil derrick. And PiKa, it looks like he sold off his MCV. And that Engineer is going to get caught by the Tengu and killed off. So very nicely done there by Andrey. So PiKa is close to dead in the water. He's going to try and fight this out. 2 refinery versus 2 refinery. Mecha Bay versus Mecha Bay. And he gets the kill on the Harvester, but it was just not great for him. Loses both of those Tengus. He's even further behind in the army count, but of course, he's got the advanced technology The Tier 2 is being matched by Andrey, and now Andrey has Defender's advantage. He's got an MCV, and it looks like he may actually end up losing that oil derrick, but continually killing off your opponent's harvesters is a good way to negate the advantage of having an oil derrick over your opponent. And in this case, the Tengu won't quite kill off the Harvester, but that's okay. 2 Tsunami Tanks versus 2 Tsunami Tanks and a Striker, but of course with the Tengus right overhead, that Tengu can't really do anything. If he transforms, he'll just be shot down basically immediately. And now, it is up to Andrey basically to not give away his lead. The other advantage that he has is with the MCV, he can actually call in support powers. So Honorable Discharge was the upgrade purchased by PiKa, but as this game goes on, the point defense drones or any other upgrades are going to be an advantage for Andrey, and just putting him even further in the lead. Andrey choosing to not try and sneak out a third refinery to try and gain an economic edge. Instead, he's just keeping his unit production edge alive. And, well, this is probably going to be the last fight of the game. 3 Tsunami Tanks versus 3 Tsunami Tanks and a bunch of Tengus. At the same time, PiKa is going for a bit of an attack on Andrey's side of the map, but I don't know that it's really going to be enough to do anything. It's actually just an Imperial Warrior and then a Tengu in the north, but that did indeed get shut down very quickly. And again, Tsunami Tank versus Tsunami Tank, but one Tsunami Tank has more health and also has the help of Tengus. There's the transform of one Striker trying to bait out the Tengus, and the Tengus do go for the transform and the kill, but now that the Tengus are in the sky, it's just going to be an advantage for Andrey. Andrey loses all of his Tsunami Tanks, but of course, he's not the one who has to worry about the numbers when he's also got the Tengus, which can be matched up with his next wave of Tsunami Tanks. PiKa doing a good job of staying alive and coming out ahead in that one engagement is about as good as you could hope. But Andrey is going to get another Harvester kill. He needs to escape with that Tengu. He doesn't actually manage to, but his Tsunami Tank will be able to potentially get the kill on these last 2 Tsunami Tanks of PiKa. Nope. He backs off. Andrey not wanting to sacrifice one of his Tsunami Tanks to get the kill on those 2 Tsunami Tanks of PiKa. And in this case, he just backs on off. And PiKa, again, he has survived for the current moment, but yeah, this is the problem, is where those little, stacking advantages that Andrey has, where he had an advantage in units, and then that suddenly turns to an advantage in engagements, where he can hit 2 different places at once, and it did force PiKa to sell off a refinery. And of course, if you sell off the refinery, you no longer need the extra power plant, and PiKa is going to have to pretty much put all of his eggs into one basket. It's technically possible, but in some ways a drawn-out battle could potentially favor PiKa if he's able to piecemeal down the army of Andrey, but I don't think Andrey is going to make that kind of a mistake to let pieces of his army just get completely separated and destroyed. It's going to be Striker versus Striker, but of course, the point defense drones being the difference maker in this battle, and now there's just an overwhelming advantage, and that will do it for Game 1. Andrey takes it, puts a point on the board, and PiKa, without much hope, after accidentally selling off that Mecha Bay, he made it as much of a match as he could, but ultimately falling down and stumbling at the first hurdle. However, PiKa is not in the winner's bracket final, or was not the winner's bracket winner because he's some kind of loser. He is indeed a good player, and we just did not see it in game number 2. So, let's jump into game. We didn't see it in game number 1, so let's jump into game number 2. Misclicks happen to everybody, but hopefully these players will be able to recover from that here on Battle Base Beta in the north as the Blue Allies. This is Andrey. And in the south as the Red Allies. This is PiKa. These guys once again playing random and once again drawing a mirror matchup. Of course, I mean, you get a 1 in 3 chance of a mirror matchup, but 2 mirror matchups in a row seems unlikely. Delayed Engineer from PiKa. He's just going straight Peacekeepers. Now, double barracks, you can run out of cash relatively quickly, pumping out 2 Peacekeepers at a time. Of course, he's getting his refinery behind this, but still, this can be a lot of cash invested early, and sometimes it doesn't pay off. It will be a very nice shield and a very nice buffer for PiKa at this point. Andrey is just going to go with the 1 barracks. He gets his 2 refineries up. He got his oil derrick sooner, so his economy is going to be rocking and rolling much faster than that of PiKa. But PiKa isn't necessarily super far behind, and it looks like he's going to try and gain an advantage through the high ground and through attacking this oil derrick from this building and trying to make something happen that way. The dog gets crushed by that MCV, and PiKa does indeed confirm that the MCV is on the move to the water. The dog did not manage to... Ooh, this dog might actually be able to block off that refinery, and this MCV will have moved out there. Not quite for nothing, as Andrey does still have the barracks and can produce a dog or 2 to block off, or to kill off this dog, but that is so annoying, delaying your refinery like that. PiKa going to be feeling very good about the fact that he gets the block on that refinery. On the other hand, PiKa, his 3rd base is here on the high ground. He's got that land expansion rolling, and it's always nice to have a little advantage like that. Be attacking your opponent's oil derrick, blocking their 3rd refinery, getting your own 3rd refinery up in time. I guess multi-gunner turret is also a good choice there. But it also does keep that refinery safe, so everything else looking relatively equal. Javelin Trooper brought along by PiKa to clean up some of these buildings. Always nice to just to not have to break your opponent's building with Peacekeepers. Instead, using the Javelin Troopers to do that a little bit more quickly. Could go ahead and break this one from the high ground as well. And then maybe even capture this one himself. So, we'll have to see. MCV on the move for a 4th refinery, and that is where Andrey is going to try and get his own advantage in this game. Is setting up a 4th refinery more quickly than that of his opponent. PiKa could be going for an airfield as the follow-up to this refinery. Could also be a war factory, as, well, he drops down the war factory right there next to the 3rd refinery. PiKa unable to move any further forward, and he's going to be forcing Andrey to clear out this building. I don't know how many Peacekeepers went in there for PiKa. Hopefully it was more than 2, as he was able to kill off 2 of the Peacekeepers of his opponent, so sounds like at least 2 Peacekeepers are still inside of that building. So, yep, PiKa maintains control of that building. Unfortunately for Andrey, he's not going to be able to clear out that building that easily, and very annoying to have to deal with these Peacekeepers in this way. Doing a bit of damage to the power plant, a bit of damage to, there we go, to the refinery as well. And no tier 2 for PiKa, so he did not get that 4th refinery. Of course, he does kill the oil derrick of his opponent, which is nice, but it's not the end of the world. The Riptide pulling around to the left, to the right side, and then probably going to try and sneak up a little bit north to completely avoid this multi-gunner turret. He does take 1 volley, and then that will be it. And of course, that's the disadvantage of having those multi-gunner turrets, is the placement does matter so much. Peacekeepers pop on out of that IFV, and I'm not sure what those Peacekeepers are really going to try and do now that they're outside of the IFV, as the IFVs just get eliminated, and it's kind of a weird game, all of these back and forths. PiKa may actually be getting a free kill on this airfield, and great job by PiKa. Gets the kill on the Vindicator as well. The Vindicator does not get pulled off the line to try and replace the airfield and save the Vindicator, so that's just all that cash down the drain, and that Vindicator didn't do a whole lot. Harvester is off the line, but still alive, which means build radius can be reestablished by Andrey, but PiKa is going to be feeling about how the last minute or so of this game went, and Andrey has been defeated. Well, I didn't think it was that over, but it was not looking good for Andrey, but that is it. Wow. Harvester off the line, losing that power, that airfield as well, and he didn't have much of a ground army. But, all right, so PiKa coming back in good form, smashes Andrey in game number 2. This is not going to be a one-sided series, just right out of the gate. 2 random v random matches and 2 different outcomes. That'll do it for game number 2. Let's jump into game number 3, which takes us to Fire Island in the north as our blue allies. It's Andrey. And in the south as our red allies. It's PiKa. Fast airfield coming out for Andrey. Once again, it's random v random. So this has a bit of an advantage. 2 dogs coming on out, and they are indeed going to see this airfield, but I think it'll be too late. I think the engineer will indeed get killed off. Oh, he pulls back the engineer. So I don't think he'll be able to save the engineer, but he may be able to keep it alive for a moment longer. And the Vindicator is going to be hunting for this. Vindicator for an engineer is going to be a favorable trade. There's into the tent. And I think the tent means he survives if he bombs it, but he gets the Javelin Troopers instead, and since the Vindicator survives, then Andrey is indeed doing a little bit better in terms of that engagement. Well, that's a good way to start the game, is with a nice... Is this 6 Javelin Trooper kills? That's 6 Javelin Trooper kills! 1,800 credits, or 2,400 credits, I don't actually remember. Are they 300 or 400? But gets a Peacekeeper as well, so an extra 200 credits down the drain. The early infantry advantage for PiKa does indeed evaporate as he gets himself an Apollo to try and clear the skies. But I think now it's going to be... Oh, no, it's 2 Apollos. He actually got 2 Apollos, which means Andrey is going to have a hard time breaking this lock. You know, you could get the 2 Apollos yourself, but now you're spending all of that cash on the Apollos after you've already lost one of the Vindicators. The engineer does manage to grab that oil derrick, so finally, PiKa does get that cash back. And with the MCV position, this may be an oil derrick reclaimed by Andrey, but then, of course, he's going to be at a bit of a disadvantage. No, it's not going to be... I thought it was going to be a Javelin Trooper right out of the gate from that barracks, and the dogs were going to have a heyday, but no, it is indeed a Peacekeeper, which gets eliminated by the dogs anyways. And now, of course, the multi-gunner turret will clear the ground and also clear the skies, as the Javelin Troopers will be able to come on out and protect their Vindicator friends. 3rd refinery up and running for Andrey. PiKa, it is going to be a bit more delayed from that, entirely delayed from that. 2nd engineer pops on out for PiKa. He may actually be able to safely grab, that 2nd oil derrick, just because Andrey doesn't quite realize that that engineer is heading that way. And I don't know what the deal is with PiKa. I'm not sure what his plan here is, why his 3rd refinery is so late. Right now, he's doing an okay job of locking down the skies, but, well, the oil derrick advantage has been overcome by this 3rd refinery. But, of course, 2 oil derricks will be certainly nice for PiKa to have, especially as the game goes on longer and longer, but 2 refineries and 2 oil derricks do not beat 4 refineries. So we'll have to see how PiKa decides to play this one out. Andrey, his air advantage has now disappeared. Additional power plant going to be coming up, and forced to sell off that multi-gunner turret, but it wasn't doing a whole lot for him anyways. And his fast airfield, well, it has bought him a fairly solid mid-game. Ooh, this is so great from PiKa. Getting the kill on that engineer. Part of it's psychological, and part of it is just like it's always nice to kill the engineer. The Riptide will survive the first bombing run, and the Vindicator will survive the Apollos. So for now, this Harvester is going to have to be pulled off the line. This is even a better feeling for Andrey. The Apollos do get the kill on the Vindicator, or excuse me, a better feeling for PiKa, as forcing that into a command hub means that it can't ever get back online, and you know for a fact that your opponent is going to have to rebuild that Harvester instead of just pulling the Harvester off the line over there. The Vindicator is going to go down, so, well, he trades one Apollo for it, but that's totally fine. PiKa's going to feel okay about that. And these Peacekeepers are just going to get blasted. The Javelin Trooper gets eliminated as well. 4 Peacekeepers inside of IFVs. And, well, no, a 5th one, but actually this guy gets kind of stopped here. I don't know what PiKa was doing with that last guy, but these Javelin Troopers are just going to get blasted. Nice micro there by PiKa, making sure that he gets maximum damage output from those IFVs, and now the IFVs are going to be able to just clear these Vindicators out. The Apollo going to be coming in as well, and I'm not sure exactly what either one of these players' long-term plan is, but Andrey is just going to try the old turret push, That is one of his strongest strategies, and he's won lots and lots of games with the turret push. Both of the Vindicators going to be going down. Both of the Harvesters going to be potentially offline if those IFVs ever get into an actual position to start attacking them, and this expansion out on the water is going to be safe for now, but the multi-gunner turret push will continue as Andrey clears out the main base of PiKa, and PiKa is looking to clear out the main base of Andrey in a bizarre kind of base trade scenario where both players control one of the oil derricks and don't have a whole lot of income going on. Andrey has had more refineries for longer, but I'm not sure how that actually is going to be advantaging him as the game continues on. For right now, he's at a huge economic advantage as he actually has 4 working refineries to the 1 refinery of PiKa. And, well, okay, PiKa... Okay, I didn't actually realize how dead PiKa was. But PiKa's little move here with these IFVs did look very nice, and it was very attention-seeking, but now that the build radius is up, even in a war factory out here for Andrey, and PiKa is going to be in a very difficult situation. He did re-grab this oil derrick, so I guess he's got that going for him. And he is going to be potentially losing or killing off this refinery over here, forcing another command hub to be built. But other than that, everything else is going Andrey's direction. And again, PiKa can potentially... Ooh, PiKa might actually be able to expand to the 2 corners and actually make this like a 3 refinery, 2 oil derrick versus 4 refinery kind of a situation. Andrey has not really had a lot of these refineries up and running long enough for them to have paid for themselves, at least not very much. And having to rebuild all of these harvesters is also certainly very frustrating. Andrey's economy just kind of evaporated in just a couple of moments there. I think he's going to be able to save all of the refineries, but he's actually, in the last minute or two, only had really 1 working refinery. This one will eventually go down. The IFV is going to try to escape out with that Peacekeeper, and the turret push has also slowed down. Andrey, I think, is going to take PiKa's old main base refinery. I mean, there's definitely lots of cash there, and that actually would be a safe expansion for him to take. But at the same time, PiKa playing such a weird game in this one, trying to deny Andrey in every direction, but not totally being able to deny Andrey. And I guess the result is Andrey feels like he should be in the better position, but PiKa has been playing this out so weird and so well that I don't want to totally count PiKa out. He's somehow been able to kind of like turn this game into a real game. And he's getting, again, more harassment done with this IFV. He may actually be able to hop over and kill that Riptide, which would just give even more veterancy to this IFV as he's now fully heroic. The Vindicators come in and kill off that Riptide, and 1 Apollo from Andrey. These 2 guys changing places as now the advantage for the Apollos is actually going to be going to Andrey, and the disadvantage for just the Vindicators is going to be going to PiKa. Andrey flying his Apollo dangerously close to that multi-gunner turret when it's so low on health was a little bit dangerous there. Cryo shot fires off, and this Peacekeeper is going to be able to clean up the Harvester and kill off the wall as well. Goodbye, as Andrey loses out on that Harvester. And once again, Andrey with the 4 refineries, but for a time, only 2 of them were working. The double oil derrick, 2 refinery play being the one for Andrey, or for PiKa, and he also gets a kill on that power plant just to make sure that the base defenses don't come online for Andrey. Andrey now going to be trying to chase down this IFV, but it's not really working too well as this IFV causing a lot of problems for him, just hunting Harvester after Harvester. And a Peacekeeper IFV actually does pretty good damage, and of course, it is a very fast unit. Couple of Javelin Troopers, couple of Peacekeepers going to be coming in here for a bit of an attack, and, well, the Riptides are going to be kind of held at bay. Actually, they're going to be killed off by these Vindicators as the Riptides get cleaned up there. At least one of them goes down, and this weird combination of IFV infantry may actually be a thing that PiKa can do some real damage with. One Riptide going to be coming on out. The MCV packs up, but it's not enough to send him into a low power mode, and the IFV goes down. The heroic IFV from PiKa gets eliminated, and this game got a little bit easier for Andrey to win. He's going to be trading out a couple of Vindicators for a couple of Apollos. One Apollo goes down, and one actually survives as the other two get eliminated. And this one IF multi-gunner turret is not going to be enough to stop this much infantry from powering through the base of Andrey. Also, these two Riptides will be eliminated as well if the guns of the infantry turn on them. However, PiKa can't contend with the MCV Crush, as that is a little bit too powerful. That power plant actually did not get eliminated by Andrey, as he had the Riptide called off of the attack to protect his MCV. Vindicator's coming in for another bombing run, but the Apollo getting some free damage done, and he does get the kill on the Vindicator, but the Apollos go down as well. Of course, Apollo's cheaper than the Vindicator, and I think for Andrey, he's now had a solid economic advantage for a couple of minutes now. Although at the same time, there's now a third refinery up and running, so the harvester kills have certainly been in the favor of PiKa, but the actual operating refineries has been the advantage of Andrey. So I think Andrey is still solidly ahead in the income category. But I can't guarantee that. Oh, he loses another engineer. 2 engineers over the course of this game, and once again, denying that capture is so frustrating. Hopefully nothing was inside of that Riptide. Hopefully for Andrey's sake, nothing was inside of that Riptide. And you have to hand it to PiKa in Game 1 and also now in this game, fighting it out to the bitter end, not worrying about the fact that he's playing with a disadvantage, you know, being down a Mecha Bay and all that in Game 1, and being down in terms of economy for pretty much the entirety of this game. Let's see if the Cryo Blast can do the work. He is going to be able to catch a couple of infantry there, but also the multi-gunner turret and the barracks are going to be the real victors here. Of course, Cryo Blast fires off for both players, but the Vindicators are going to be able to help clear out these Riptides, and everything goes down. No, a couple of the Riptides do actually survive, but there's a multi-gunner turret on the side of PiKa just to help bring down these Riptides. And Andrey faltering here. His Riptide's not really engaging this, and Andrey has been defeated. PiKa in the last minute coming out ahead. The Cryo Blast playing a critical role in breaking the front line of Andrey. And real quick, let's take a look at that resources graph. Yes, a solid difference between the two, but Andrey was never able to capitalize on his income advantage. 1,600 credits per minute over the course of that game, and that was pretty well spread out. So, yeah, after about the 3-minute mark, that 1,600 credits of extra income that Andrey had that PiKa didn't, he was not able to actually do anything with. And that will do it for game number 3. PiKa 2-1 in this best-of-7 series. And after that third game, I'm not sure what Andrey is going to have to bust out. He may have to stop playing random, but we will see in game number 4. Which takes us to Cabana Republic and the statue of a shark next to this hotel. Or is that a dolphin? It seems weird to have a statue of a shark, but that is definitely a shark. On the left side, as the Blue Soviets, this is Andrey. And on the right side, as the Red Allies. Once again, both of these guys playing random. This is PiKa. PiKa going to be feeling real good after that last game. Game number 1 is definitely one of those ones where, like, you could tilt from it, but PiKa didn't. And now PiKa feeling pretty good about this series overall. This guy has been playing so well in this tournament for the Win 74. Definitely bringing out some of the best games from PiKa that we have seen. His series versus DDF was great. And now he's busting out the moves big time here in this series versus Andrey. Dogs versus bears, you know. Who knows which way this is going to go. It looks like the engineer might be clobbered. Run! The dog is going to try and... Oh, nice split there from Andrey, and goodbye. No, he does actually get the lockdown of one of the bears, but the other 2 bears are going to get the kill guaranteed. Goodbye, bears, as one of them does go down, but the dog does also get eliminated. Conscripts here in the middle of the map, and fast War Factory. Not super fast War Factory, but relatively quick War Factory for Andrey. Indeed, going for the double reactor play instead of a super reactor. The MCV now on the way, on the move, and he has, of course, grabbed his own oil derrick. So, Andrey going to be feeling pretty darn good It was a naval yard for PiKa. He's got a couple of engineers inside of that, so he can run them around to the oil derricks. He can get the kills that way. He did have to protect his engineers a little bit there with those walls, keep the bears away from them. And Andrey doing a good job of trying to gain every advantage that he possibly can in this early game. Even going to be forcing these peacekeepers out of the buildings, and of course the conscripts would love to clear buildings full of peacekeepers. That's always going to be an advantage for the Soviet player. But naval yard actually sticks around for now. He's going to be keeping it at the current moment. Maybe not for too much longer. Actually, oh, okay, so he swaps the engineers from, I think, one Riptide to the other one so that he can get the second engineer out there a little bit more quickly. Terror drone way here in the south does just run under that scanner sweep as the drones for the allied player do indeed reveal that terror drone. I don't know that it'll really do anything. I guess if the naval yard gets sold off, then there would be no repair here for PiKa. But with the naval yard so close, I'm not sure how much that terror drone is really going to be able to do against PiKa. You can't always lock down the prospectors that are out on the water. Sickles jumping in, a little bit of harassment coming in here for Andrey's MCV, still just hanging out there on the high ground, and the Riptide's going to be the unit of choice to respond. The MCV already, of course, unpacked, and that terror drone just waiting with its stasis ray so that he can try and lock down any harvesters. And from the high ground, going to be attacking that sickle, that cheeky sickle. And this sickle actually does get the kill on that harvester, and PiKa did not preempt that harvester kill, which means that harvester is going to be offline for the entirety of the build time there. And this, of course, sickle can jump back down there, can get a little bit more damage done on that harvester of PiKa. PiKa moving through the middle of the map with this Riptide. Both oil derricks not captured by PiKa. Kind of curious because he did get both of the engineers, but he hasn't really done anything with the second engineer. I don't know if maybe his plan is to actually capture the hospital. I would assume it was both of the oil derricks, but it hasn't happened just yet. Either that or he forgot. Looks like a terror drone going down there, but the hammer tank is now out. Of course, the super reactor right next door to that war factory, so potential point of weakness for our Soviet player. Into some twin blades and some MiGs goes our Soviet player, and the sickle does manage to chase the prospector away. Very nicely done there by Andrey, and he's going to escape to the high ground once again. Bear getting eliminated there in the south. I always forget about this observation post. I don't know that I've ever actually seen it captured, but there are, I guess, 5 observation posts. That's a lot of observation posts in this particular map. Riptide, possibly this is the Riptide with the engineer, just based on the sneaky route that it looked like he took, which means this is going to be an expensive Riptide to lose. The extra 500 credits of the engineer is indeed no fun to have lost there. So, unfortunate for PiKa, but this game, I don't know which way it's turning. Andrey may have to contend with a bit of a base push from PiKa as PiKa repositions his MCV. Now, do note that Tier 2 was not, I believe, any time active on that airfield. So I believe this is still a Tier 1 MCV, which means there are no cryocopters anywhere, which I think is a mistake from PiKa. Although, to hear some of you guys tell it, PiKa will now be able to win this game with no units at all, just purely because Allies OP. So we'll have to see how it turns out. At the current moment, Andrey is... Yeah, I don't know what PiKa was doing there. Andrey had everything in that game, and PiKa just... I don't know, it's like he let his little brother play that one out, and the little brother is like maybe 6 or 7. For a really good Allied player sometimes, that was a nothing game. So I guess they're 2-2 now? But... yeah. I think PiKa defeated himself in that last game more than anything. Okay, well... let's hope game number 3 is more of the model for the remainder of this series. Tied up 2-2. Andrey needs to close it out. But how close this has been, it's going to be difficult for him to take the next 2 games and the following series. So let's find out what happens in game number 5. Which takes us to the garage land of industrial strength in the south. As our Blue Empire player, this is Andrey. And in the north, as our red allies, this is PiKa. Once again, the random draw going to be delivering us a not mirror matchup these last 2 games. Last game, the non-mirror matchup favoring Andrey there with his Soviets play, but PiKa now going to be playing allies, which PiKa is an allied player just in general, so this is going to be where he's most comfortable. And Andrey, you know, he did all right with his Empire in game number 1, but I don't know how his Empire is going to do against PiKa's allied play, so... But, you know, this is both players deciding to play random. This is what you are left with. Engineer should be able to grab this oil derrick. I would be surprised if Andrey did manage to get the kill on that engineer. And Andrey, of course, going to be grabbing this oil derrick in the north. I think this was a 3 dojo opening from Andrey, so he invested quite a bit of cash. Oh, well, there's a 4th dojo that wasn't a mecha bay. He invested quite a bit of cash into building Imperial Warriors, but I was going to say, you know, he's still ahead because of the fact that he didn't spend the extra cash on the 4th dojo. But he did spend the cash on the 4th dojo, so it would have been wrong in that sense. Walls coming up. Airfield is now here. And, of course, well, never mind. I was going to say the walls at the front don't necessarily mean anything, right? Because allied players walling off the front so that they can go over to this 3rd field, this 3rd refinery, is pretty common. But the fact that he's walling off both directions means that he might just be going for a bit of cryocopter play. And, you know, cryocopter play can be very dangerous versus an Empire player. He does manage to secure this building for a short time, but not forever. Tier 2 now up and running for PiKa. And Andrey should be able to secure this oil derrick without too much more trouble. He hasn't actually produced the engineer yet. So, or he did produce it and it got sniped and I just missed it. But PiKa now going to have enough time to actually get a Vindicator over here and hang out there while he waits for that engineer to pop on out. The MCV gets shrunk down, and he is going to be heading towards the middle of the map. It would be kind of funny if PiKa turret pushes Andrey. Like, how many times have we seen Andrey turret push, you know, Happy or DDF or Demon? You know, Andrey turret pushes everybody, and now it may indeed be happening to him. So we'll have to see how Andrey deals with a turret push from an allied player. This is kind of one of those situations where sometimes the player who does the turret push all the time knows how to beat it. And so the cryocopter turret push can be defeated by Andrey, a player who is very good with a cryocopter turret push in his own right. But can he be good at stopping it? This is 3 Apollos here, which is going to be a difficult thing for these Tengus to stop. There's the sell-off of the MCV. So Andrey says that your goal as an Empire player is to keep a dojo around, sell off your MCV, and then go for a big attack on all of these Apollos. The Apollo's going to be able to clear the sky of 2 Tengus. A 3rd Tengu gets almost eliminated. It does manage to survive. It gets over to that mecha bay. Now let's keep an eye on, well, the infantry, I was going to say, of Andrey, but they're actually all getting eliminated. The dogs of PiKa going to be able to clean up the infantry. All of the Imperial Warriors going down. Also the crush of the MCV being a powerful weapon under the hand of PiKa. And, well, for now, Andrey has kept both of his refineries online. He doesn't have a sneaky refinery somewhere out on the map, so this MCV cell could be pretty devastating. And that low power mode is going to mean that Defender Core is pretty much useless for the rest of this game. Vindicator's going to be trying to clear out these Tengus, but I don't know how much these Tengus will actually be able to do. Of course, the build radius not being there. Oh, what is this engineer doing? That engineer almost getting eliminated by that Imperial Warrior, but he is going to be able to secure the oil derrick of Andrey. And, well, I guess this MCV is now going to be just moving into the main base of Andrey, and Andrey's options are limited. If he tries to transform these Tengus to kill off the Vindicator, he may get the kill on one Vindicator, but then the Apollos will clear out these Tengus, and he'll be totally dead. But if he doesn't transform, if he doesn't go for the kill of the Vindicators, eventually the Vindicators will be able to get the kill on these Tengus. And, well, actually, now that the build radius is eliminated, there actually are not going to be any multi-gunner turrets, which will kill off these Tengus, but it's just going to be the slow death of these Tengus. The Tsunami Tank going to be trying to chase down that MCV. It's a difficult thing for a Tsunami Tank to kill an MCV by itself. They do pretty decent damage, but of course you always have to be worried about the crush of that MCV. And the last Tengu gets eliminated. PiKa able to... well, he actually hasn't been able to secure that oil derrick. That's a little bit unfortunate for PiKa. He has, of course, killed off both of the refineries of his opponent, meaning this Mecha Bay is it. Andrey has 2 oil derricks and this Mecha Bay, and he's about to lose the Mecha Bay. So, it's not that it's impossible for him to win, it's just that it's next to impossible for him to win this game. Nevercheese has been defeated. GG gets called. And, oh, that actually was his last building as well, so it literally was impossible. It didn't even click that was his last building. That losing that war factory was it. I was like, well, you know, he has a couple of units. Maybe he could do some real wild gymnastics with his units to make them do something, but that'll do it. Nevercheese, the cryocopter turret push crushes him as well. Andrey dropping down in this series. The momentum transfers back to PiKa, but Andrey is not one to go out without a fight. Will he even things up, or will he lose and his tournament run end next in game number 6? Which takes us to the excavation sites of Temple Prime. Don't fall in there, lads. It's dangerous. That's why we have this lovely safety wire completely surrounding everything. On the left side, as our Blue Empire player, it's Andrey. Down in this series. On the right side, as our Red allies, it's PiKa. Playing random every single game. These last 2, it almost doesn't feel fair, right? Because PiKa gets his preferred race 2 games in a row, and Andrey gets a powerful race, right? The Empire, but it's not his preferred race. It's not his faction. So, you know, we shall see. I would kind of love it if PiKa vaulted an airfield and then just cryo-rushed him again and cryocopter turret pushed him 2 games in a row. And it's like, how did Andrey lose the tournament? Which, by the way, Andrey was in the finals against Happy in the last For the Win. I don't actually remember who won. So Andrey might be the defending For the Win champion, and it would kind of be funny if Andrey gets turret pushed out of this tournament. Doesn't necessarily look like PiKa is doing that. He does want to grab this oil derrick in the south, and he is going to be doing that for now. His Peacekeeper is going to be, well, not able to secure this oil derrick for very long, which means PiKa will have the advantage there. Airfield is up and running, and this is, of course, so you can reposition your MCV to this kind of middle of the map area, take your 3rd refinery, and also get Tier 2 on your MCV and still have it apply to that airfield. Goodbye, oil derrick in the south, so the advantage goes to Andrey with the better, faster eco, of course. Well, I didn't actually check the timing of his refineries, but typically Empire gets your refineries up just a smidge faster than all the other factions. Peacekeeper's heading to the middle of the map, as is this Vindicator, and that'll be a nice scout off for Andrey. Very delayed Mecha Bay a nice scout for PiKa. Very delayed Mecha Bay for Andrey. No Defender Core as well, so he's going to have... Oh, he went into a 3rd refinery, and this gets scouted. I assume he's going to drop the bombs on this refinery. Of course, it doesn't kill the refinery core, but it does a nice chunk of damage, and it just means that that refinery is going to be that much weaker if you come in with another bombing run. But no, PiKa deciding not to do that. I don't know where PiKa's MCV is. Here it is, right there. PiKa going to be able to clean up both of those oil derricks, and that refinery does not get misplaced. It gets deployed just fine. MCV on the move for Andrey. It's going to be 3 refineries versus 3 refineries very shortly. And, of course, this burst drone doing a bit of damage. Nope, not actually really doing any damage to that prospector, as the Vindicator does clear out that burst drone. Eliminating the oil derricks is a good move for PiKa. PiKa may actually want to chuck a couple of Javelin Troopers into that temple there in the middle. Having a couple of Javelin Troopers to damage Tengus as they fly over is always nice. Straight into Tier 2 for... Ooh, gets the kill on that Apollo. Straight into Tier 2 for Andrey, as that probably is the best choice given how PiKa is playing out this early game. You get those Chopper VXs You get the advantage of being able to shoot from the ground their aircraft. And this Apollo is going to get targeted down. The cryocopter may be able to escape, though. And the Apollo does actually escape as well, so he gets nothing for those chopper VXs. The cryocopter is not going to go and freeze down that refinery. He is indeed going to escape a little bit further south. I guess he is going to freeze down that refinery. He was just waiting for the Apollos and the Vindicator to join up. And yeah, this is kind of a cute Tengu here to try and fight these two Apollos, but these are two Apollos. One of them is full health, so you're going to need more than just one Tengu to try and make this work. 3 Tengus might be able to get the job done, especially with a little bit of a micro on top of those Apollos. And grabbing this building is just kind of nice. And goodbye, Harvester, as it will indeed be frozen before the Tengus can save it. Probably won't be able to get the refinery. You can see a little bit of judder there. Maybe a little bit of lag between these two guys, as PiKa is a Chinese player. And I don't know where Andrey is playing from, but Andrey grabs both Apollos. That's a great move there for him. And this cryocopter also getting targeted down. Not eliminated! No, Andrey, kill off the cryocopter! You silly, silly boy. He does indeed kill off that cryocopter. The Apollo and the cryocopter both going down. And not a favorable trade for our allied player. You want to keep those cryocopters alive so you can get 2 or 3 of them up and running for the mid-game. Tengus and Chopper VXs, not enough numbers here to just straight up kill PiKa, but he will be able to do a little bit of damage, maybe even kill off this Vindicator. No, the Vindicator escapes forward. Now the Cryocopter, second one does pop on out. He needs to save this. Don't give that Cryocopter away, PiKa. Don't do it, man. This one Tengu has been so low on health for so long, and now it is indeed going to get point defense drones just for a little bit of extra health. He's going to dive on the Cryocopter. I think that's the right move there, and then just try and get on out of there with as many units as you can. He goes for the kill of the power plant. I don't know if that was necessarily worth it, but he's getting as much value as he possibly can. And oh, that Tengu coming so close to death. Those point defense drones expiring with basically the last missile of those Javelin troopers. And PiKa, wait a second, how many cryocopters has this guy built? I'm not sure what actually went down there. Well, the Tengus do pretty much all get eliminated there. I think that was one Apollo cleaning up like 2 or 3 Tengus. Maybe a little bit unfortunate there for Andrey. But he's been able to macro up behind this. Of course, with that 3 refinery economy, he's going to be feeling pretty solid. His MCV is still around. He was not forced to sell it off. His 4th refinery going to be coming on up. And this is where you want to be as the Empire player. You want to be on that 4 refinery economy versus your allied player, your allied counterpart. And I mean, typically the allied player will be more efficient in all of the trades if they utilize their cryocopters well. But so far, PiKa, in previous games, we've seen him be good with cryocopters. But this game, losing 2 cryocopters out of your 3, it's not the end of the world, obviously, but it is not how you want to be playing out this game. You don't want to have to be rebuilding all of these cryocopters. You instead want to be putting that cash into either infantry or a vehicle-based ground army. Now, of course, Guardian tanks, Riptides, and IFVs all going to be a part of the plan for PiKa. I think he's going to be looking to add in some of that stuff to his arsenal, but Andrey with a sneaky 4th expansion out here on the water. I thought he was going to be taking it here on the high ground, but he doesn't want to have to contend with the allied forces all being close to him, so he's instead decided to spread out the attacks as far as they can be. And, well, I don't know what this attack is. Like, this attack surely... Ooh, engineer gets killed. Nicely done there by Andrey. Surely this attack isn't going to do anything. Right, Andrey? Okay, there we go. He finally responds to it. It's like, that MCV actually took a decent amount of damage from, like, a Vindicator and an IFV. Like, come on. Shouldn't really be doing much damage at all with those units at this point. Apollos will chase down that Tengu. Tengu not really getting much more value other than killing off that engineer. And this dog's still just hanging out here for PiKa. Going to be keeping an eye on that refinery. And, well, the Riptide is going to be going for the kill on the refinery in the north. Tengu does transform. It does get shrunk down. It will be eliminated by the, well, either the Prospector or the Cryocopters. There's a big transform of that Riptide and eliminates it. Very nicely done there The Harvester taken off the line, driven all the way almost to the middle of the map, as splitting 2 Riptides, one in either direction to try and shut down these Harvesters. Both Harvesters do survive, but a Cryoblast will guarantee a kill on a Harvester here in the main base of Andrey. And of course, one of the most frustrating things to play against is indeed that Cryo Shot, Cryoblast, Cryo Get-In from the allied player. MCV, absolutely key to allies, not just in terms of tech, you know, that's where you get all of your Tier 2, Tier 3 stuff going on, but also in terms of being able to call in those support powers. And, well, I guess eventually this Ore Collector will get eliminated by PiKa, but for now, Andrey has kept it alive very nicely. Guardian tanks and IFVs here on the ground. The Riptides have pretty much all been eliminated. And again, the Cryocopters making any engagement difficult. Tengu's going to be diving on these Cryocopters. This may actually be a mistake as the Apollo's able to close the distance, and these IFVs getting so much damage onto these Tengus. And the Tengus, for now, not actually getting the kill on the Cryocopters. The Cryocopters pretty much all surviving, and this is way too many Tengus to be losing for one Cryocopter and like 2 Apollos. Did he really kill? That was the whole army almost of Andrey. He traded it for nothing, and PiKa wins for the win, 74. The random finals, PiKa versus Andrey, and not even with a turret push here in game number 6, as PiKa is your champion. Thank you all very much for watching, and just that one misstep, huge overcommitment there from Andrey. I don't know what he was thinking there. He must have thought he was going to be able to take that engagement very easily, but just those 4 IFVs completely uncontested on the ground, doing so much damage to his entire army. That will do it for that game, and for that series, PiKa with a 4-2 victory over Andrey. That'll wrap up for the win 74. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and this is Sybert signing out.